Hi, everyone. Judge Andrew Napolitano here for Judging Freedom. Today is Thursday, October 10th, 2024. Colonel Tony Shaffer joins us now. Colonel Tony, always a pleasure, my dear friend. Thank you for joining us. I want to spend a fair amount of time with you on the feudal American efforts in Ukraine.
Sure.
We have a dynamite clip of Hungarian President Orban challenging the European Union to rethink its attitude about Ukraine. And we'll get to that in a minute. But I've been asking everyone this week the same question at the outset, having to do with Israel, and getting a lot of different interesting responses. How has the landscape of the Middle East changed, in your view, in the past 365 days?
The American hegemony for the region has been lost. Essentially, there's no effective influence. Let me caveat that there's no effective influence on any side of any issue at this point because of what I see as the Biden incompetence. Now, I'm not taking a position on it. I'm not saying anything about what the effect has been. I know at times there's issues that relate to Hamas and Hezbollah and the Palestinians that certain folks want the U.S. to do. There's certain things people on the right want people to do regarding offensive operations against Iran. So what I'm saying is it's all moot. It doesn't matter. There's nobody has any leverage over anybody from this nation to the Middle East. It's chaos. Now I'm not judging it. I'm just saying, to answer your question, that's what I see.
Tony, it's your own observations that I'm interested in, and I appreciate them. Well, let me follow up with this.
Sure.
Israel today, is it stronger and more stable, or weaker and less stable than it was on October 6th, 2023?
It's clearly not. It's not as stable because it's in a state of war. So I think, by all measures, if you are at a state of war, stability is a point of sacrifice. You're just not going to have stability. Are they stronger or not? Militarily, they're stronger. I haven't studied their economy to understand the consequences of being engaged in combat operations, but militarily, yeah, they're because they are now seen as the strong horse, to use an Arab term, and the United States is seen as essentially, not relevant. I think they've filled that vacuum that the United States used to fill. Remember, my premise is, right, or you can agree with this, disagree with me, that our ability, United States' ability to leverage things, either side, it's gone. There's I think even Kamala Harris was asked about this in her 60 Minutes interview. Is like, hey, do you guys have any influence over Netanyahu? And the answer was a very, like, a 5-minute answer that got to know. It's like, no, we don't. And I think that vacuum has been filled by Israel and the vacuum of our leadership.
Orban spoke for about 17 or 18 minutes at the European Parliament earlier today. Towards the end, he was drowned out by all the members of the Parliament, which is pretty left-wing, singing a song trying to silence him. We're not going to play that part, but we are going to play the guts of what he said, which is just about a minute long, basically challenging the EU to recognize that there should be negotiations, and the negotiations should result in a ceasefire, and the continual pouring of cash and weapons into Ukraine is only going to result in the deaths of many, many more thousands of people. I think it took a lot of courage for him to say what he said, but the audience didn't receive it well. Given who they are. Here's cut number 12.
The European Union has a mistaken policy when it comes to this war. If we want to win, then we need to change this losing strategy that we are currently implementing. It was a poorly planned and poorly implemented strategy. If we continue on that route, we're going to lose. If we don't want Ukraine to lose, then we need to change strategy. And I think that you should consider that. In every war, there needs to be diplomatic work, we need to have communication, direct and indirect contacts. If we don't do that, then we will go even deeper into war, and the situation will be even more desperate. More and more people will die. Hundreds of thousands of people have died. Thousands of people are dying while we're talking here now. And with this strategy, we won't find any solution in the battlefield. So I think we need to stand up for peace. We need to focus on a ceasefire and create a different strategy, because otherwise we will all lose.
How could you storm out on a statement as rational as that?
Look, it's obvious the strategy hasn't worked. And I think Orban makes a very impassioned but accurate and clear statement of it's time to change, because it's not working. It's not going to work. And literally, Judge, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. This is insane. And those people are all insane who decided to stand up and walk away because they don't want to hear it. For some reason, they are mentally compromised. I don't mean to speak ill of European leaders, but I will. It's not rational that you're ignoring facts as they are, not as you want them to be. And right now, as we speak, the town of Vuhledar has fallen to the Russians. There's every indication that the Kursk incursion, which we've spoken about, is going to be a huge loss of force. Those forces that the Ukrainians used to go into Kursk were pulled off their other military missions, which means that degradation has resulted in faster Russian gains. So Orban is correct. The EU is committed to a course of action that will, at best case, they'll lose Ukraine and see a rump state established. Worst case, we'll see tactical nuclear weapons reintroduced to the European battlefield. And, oh, by the way, I don't think that's a good thing. I mean, the Europeans seem to be bent on this expansion of nuclear weapons on the battlefield to include Germany. Germany, at the time when I was a kid, there were protests against nuclear weapons being there. I mean, I was deployed there several times. And in the 80s, like, they wanted weapons out. Now they're asking for them back. Are you kidding me? That's not rational.